Ryota Sato used to be your run-of-the-mill office drone. Now, he's out here slaying monsters in a wild new world. After getting yeeted into this magical land, he finds out he's gotta take down monsters and cash in on their loot. With his noob level skills, things look bleak, until he realizes he's got the sick ability to snag rare drops. Maybe he can make it in this crazy new world after all. Ryota wakes up in a dungeon, startling Emily, who finds it odd since slimes usually drop bean sprouts, not humans. She introduces herself and demonstrates by defeating a slime with a giant hammer, which drops bean sprouts. They're on the first floor of Tululu Dungeon, where everything is a monster drop. As they navigate the maze, Ryota questions if he's still on Earth. Emily explains she avoids other monsters due to her weakness for level 2. She shows him her mediocre stats at level 3 on a status board. Ryota realizes it's akin to a video game and discovers his drop stats are all S, while his other stats are all Fs. Emily misunderstands S as bad, but Ryota borrows her bamboo spear, struggling but defeating a slime that drops numerous bean sprouts, confirming his exceptional drop stats. Ryota's stomach rumbles, and Emily cooks some bean sprouts. Ryota finds the food delicious and tears up after trying the soup, recalling his past life of exhausting work and cold convenience store meals. Emily comforts him, saying his efforts will pay off. Ryota thanks her and decides to find lodging. Emily, who sleeps in the dungeon due to lack of funds, lets him keep the bamboo spear. Ryota reaches town, learns about the currency, pylos, and sells his bean sprouts for 200 pylos. He discovers meals cost around 500 pylos and lodging 2,000 a night. After 3 days of killing slimes and trading bean sprouts, Ryota rents a rundown house for 20,000 pylos a month and gives Emily the keys, assuring her he'll cover the rent to thank her for the soup. Seeing his blisters and tiredness, Emily insists he live with her so she can cook for him. Ryota trades his bean sprouts at Swallow's Gratitude, impressing Urza, the counter girl. He plans to move to level 2 for better drops where monsters yield carrots. Urza mentions the Neptune group investigating a new dungeon, Nihonium. As Ryota leaves, Urza tries asking him out, but he declines. Returning home to find it spotless, Emily offers Ryota a warm towel and tea, enjoying the work despite his protests. Mentioning Nihonium, Emily dismisses it having drops. Ryota decides to investigate and battles a skeleton, struggling but eventually winning. The skeleton drops a glowing seed, raising Ryota's max HP, surprising both at the status board with his newfound C rank. Excited, Ryota plans to hunt more skeletons. Emily joining, they realize only Ryota's kills drop seeds. Concluding Nihonium enhances stats for S ranks. Over a meal, Ryota shares his plan to explore level 2 of Tululu. Emily worries, asking him to return by nightfall. Emily asks Ryota about the girl who suddenly appears and tests Ryota's resilience by smacking his head and then knocking out a bystander with the same action. Ryota attributes his lack of reaction to his S rank HP. The girl reveals she came for carrots, showing off a large one she took earlier. Excited by the carrots in the house, she joins them for a meal where Emily prepares carrot noodles and soup. Impressed, she praises Emily's cooking and leaves promptly after eating. Meanwhile, Ryota cautiously explores the second level of Nihonium, intent on gaining strength. He encounters a zombie, breaking his bamboo spear, but defeating it with punches and kicks, obtaining a seed that boosts his strength. While there, he notices the girl watching him. She questions him about drops, but Ryota avoids mentioning his S rank status. She asks for carrots and heads to Tululu, waiting at Swallow's Gratitude before leaving. Ryota arrives at Swallow's Gratitude with a load of carrots, handing one to Eve Callous Leader amidst a gathering crowd. The crowd is shocked as Eve enthusiastically eats the carrot. Urza offers to buy all the carrots at double their value, explaining Eve's reputation as a skilled adventurer known for her karate chop Excalibur and her expertise in carrots, which ensures high prices. She offers 15,000 pylos per carrot. Ryota is amazed and tries to thank Eve, but she demands more carrots. When he promises to bring more tomorrow, She becomes upset and leaves. On Tululu level 2, Ryota and Emily check their stats before continuing. Ryota encounters 2 struggling adventurers and their captain battling a slime. The captain finishes it off, collects the carrot, and pushes them forward, scolding them for weakness and urging them to get stronger. Ryota reflects on a past boss who pushed him similarly for improvement. Emily brings Ryota a lunchbox and they take a break. Eve joins them excitedly and they enjoy their meal. Nearby, the earlier group's captain criticizes their laziness and emphasizes the effort needed for quality drops. Eve interrupts, offering delicious carrots without hard work. The captain prepares to attack, but Eve stops him and they leave. At Swallow's gratitude, Ryota tells Erza they couldn't bring all their items. Erza suggests a magical cart, and they visit a shop where an old man recommends one with a monster detection system. Priced at 10 million pylos, it's beyond their budget, so they leave disappointed. Suddenly, shouts about a stray monster echo through town. Ryota spots a giant gorilla causing panic. Emily explains strays have no drops. When the gorilla threatens Erza, Ryota intervenes. Eve and other adventurers arrive to help. Ryota takes charge, attacking the gorilla as Emily smashes its boulder attack. Ryota defeats the gorilla with the adventurers' support, cheered by grateful bystanders. They investigate a drop chime together afterward. Ryota and Emily journey together, discovering a pistol dropped by a Femini, a weapon that shouldn't exist outside Nihonium. Ryota's strength has leveled up to S rank due to seed drops. Equipped with the pistol, he enters Nihonium and efficiently dispatches zombies with precise shots, conserving bullets. At Tululu, Ryota saves Emily from a jumping slime with a well-aimed shot. During lunch, Emily admires Ryota's pistol. Planning to explore the next level, Ryota notes Eve's absence. On the 3rd level, they confront cocker slimes dropping pumpkins, their cockroach-like movement unsettling Ryota. Emily relishes killing cocker slimes, collecting pumpkins. Ryota suggests returning for more carrots to calm Emily's intense demeanor. Another swarm triggers Emily's bloodlust, but Ryota calms her and defeats the monsters. They contemplate carrying the massive pumpkins from Ryota's high drop kills when Emily fixates on more cocker slimes. A sudden burst at the dungeon entrance sends Ryota flying with their pumpkins. Eve appears, receiving carrots from Emily. They trade pumpkins at Swallow's gratitude and return, finding them half-eaten. Suspecting cocker slimes, Emily smashes a ruined pumpkin, releasing another swarm. She starts going berserk, but Ryota pacifies her with gunfire until he runs out of bullets, vowing to eliminate them barehanded. After defeating the cocker slimes, chimes indicate more bullets drop. Erza explains strays spawn from drops outside dungeons. Ryota considers farming them, thanking Erza before leaving. Experimenting with baiting monsters outside, Ryota kills a slime for more bullets. Trying Nihonium seeds next, they vanish disappointingly. Ryota hoped for something unique due to his skill, but returns disheartened. As the skeleton surprises Ryota, he kicks it out, but it vanishes. Erza explains monsters disappear outside dungeons and can't change levels inside. She blushes, trying to compliment Ryota, who hurries away. Back at Nihonium, Ryota tests kicking a skeleton outside and shoots it before it vanishes, gaining a freezing bullet. Testing it on a tree, it encases in ice. At Tululu, Ryota freezes a slime before Emily kills it, explaining its rarity. On a mountain trail, Ryota and Emily find 2 arguing over fallen cargo. The man wants it for valuable perfume, despite strays, while the woman threatens to burn it with fireball. He misses hitting her, revealing a feminine possession. The woman explains feminine use human bodies to propagate. Ryota shoots the monster, freeing the man who falls unconscious. She urges them to flee, as more feminine will come due to the cargo, ready to sacrifice herself. Ryota recalls a similar situation where he couldn't act responsibly. Wanting to help, Ryota uses freezing bullets to immobilize the monsters, allowing Emily to shatter them. Grateful, the woman thanks Ryota for saving them. That night, they find Emily's stats improve significantly after defeating the Femini. She thanks Ryota, believing good things happen when they are together. though he feels he's the one benefiting. Returning to the dungeon, Ryota and Emily defeat a rare monster that drops a necklace doubling item drops. Ryota suggests Emily wear it for increased earnings. Back home, they consider moving to a nicer place with their newfound wealth, but Emily advises against overworking. At the Swallow's Gratitude, Ryota tries selling bamboo shoots. Erza struggles to appraise them, and Epicure buys all shoots for 20,000 pillows, impressed by their taste. In Nihonium, Ryota witnesses Princess Margaret and her companions using a magic cart to store monsters, turning monster air into a profitable product. Ryota decides to buy a magic cart, but hesitates due to the cost. They debate between buying the cart or a new house. Emily suggests prioritizing the cart to save money, and they agree to pursue it. The next day, they find a girl crying at the shop. She reveals her father hasn't returned from a trip to get flowers from the arsenic dungeon. Knowing they need to help, Ryota and Emily enter the dungeon. They encounter monsters blocking their path. Emily swiftly defeats them with her hammer. Deeper inside, they find the shopkeeper lying on the ground. After waking him, he explains he's gathering materials for his magic cart, but lacks light rocks. They spot a flying rock, too light for him to capture alone. Ryota suggests they work together. Emily, despite her hammer's weight, swings and retrieves a light rock, which drops a blue rose needed by the shopkeeper. Outside the dungeon, the blue rose transforms into a light rock, ascending towards the sky. The shopkeeper attempts to catch it, but fails, prompting Ryota to freeze it with a bullet. They return to the shop where the shopkeeper completes his magic cart and insists they take it as a reward for their help. Reluctant at first, Ryota accepts the magic cart. They fill it with bamboo shoots to capacity and use it to trade efficiently. Ryota visits Ursa's shop and intervenes when a man disputes payment, freezing his arm to prevent an attack. They resolve the issue using the magic cart to finalize the agreed upon price of 8,400 pillows. Grateful for Ryota's help, Erza admits she could use assistance in her shop. Ryota reassures her and receives a surprise kiss from Erza. Back in Telulu, Ryota and Emily maximize their earnings with the magic cart, gathering bamboo shoots and earning 200,000 pillows per trip. With their savings, they decide to buy a new house, but opt to keep their old place for sentimental reasons. The next day, they settle into their new home. Ryota wakes to find Eve there, surprised but welcomed by Emily, who has prepared breakfast. Ryota returns to Nihonium's first level and kills mummies until he runs out of bullets. He collects a glowing seed from a monster, boosting his speed. When a mummy attacks, he wrestles it, cutting it in half with his S-rank strength, realizing he can handle monsters weaponless. At the Swallow's Gratitude, Neptune, intrigued by Ryota's power, challenges him to an arm wrestling match. Despite Neptune's strength, Ryota wins, surprising onlookers. Neptune, the leader of Sakuro's strongest organization, invites Ryota to join his family, but Ryota declines, preferring his life with Emily. Back home, Ryota tells Emily about Neptune's offer, and she calls him a hero for helping many people. Returning to Nihonium, Ryota learns about Pandora's box from Margaret's companion, which automatically stores dropped items and shows the finder's face. A man gives Ryota some Pandora's boxes, asking him to spread the word. Initially reluctant, Ryota uses them to store seeds, attracting stray skeletons, which he easily defeats to collect freezing bullets. Emily finds Ryota repeating this process with other monster items, quickly dispatching a mummy and a zombie to obtain special bullets. He takes a red, fire, and white bullet, realizing their utility and planning to gather more. As Ryota acquires more bullets, he feels a chill opening the last box. Emily informs him of a magic storm, so he returns to Erza. Erza explains the storm prevents magic use and might affect dungeons, advising magic-using adventurers to take the day off. Reyes pleads for help as his partner Rosa is trapped in Silicon, a magic user dungeon. Other adventurers refuse, and Reyes despairs. Neptune appears, explaining Silicon's monsters are immune to non-magical attacks. Ryota volunteers to search for Rosa on Silicon's third level. Using special bullets, he defeats monsters while Emily returns to Erza's shop. Eve joins Emily to help Ryota. In Silicon's dungeon, Ryota reaches Rosa, but runs out of special bullets as a monster appears. Meanwhile, Emily recalls her brave mother, a dungeon adventurer who once defeated a stray dragon but was fatally injured, advising Emily to be cautious in dungeons. Back in the present, Emily sees Ryota as a hero, like her mother for helping others, feeling it's her turn to help him. Ryota, fleeing from monsters with ineffective regular bullets, encounters Emily and Eve escaping zombies. They offer to care for Rosa while Ryota handles other threats, using an empty box to manage the situation. Emily and Eve distract monsters as Ryota deals with them, collecting fire bullets from defeated zombies. After rescuing Rosa from the dungeon with help from Emily and Eve, Ryota uses a healing bullet to improve Rosa's health instantly, easing Rhea's worries. Grateful, Rhea thanks Ryota, who appreciates Emily's support and credits her mother's inspiration for their successful rescue. Ryota offers to treat Emily and Eve to food, but Emily declines, preferring to cook for him at home. Ryota obtains a watermelon drop and asks Erza to appraise it. Eric suddenly appears and tastes it, moved to tears by its flavor. Others try it impressed, and Erza proposes an exclusive contract with Ryota. Surprised by its popularity, Ryota gladly accepts. Erza informs him of the dungeon licensing requirement for levels beyond 5. Ryota visits another building to inquire about the license. The examiner challenges Ryota to defeat a transforming melon from level 6. It becomes a metal slime, immune to blades. Ryota uses his S-rank strength, then his gun to set it on fire and freeze it, shattering the slime with a temperature change tactic. Impressed, the examiner grants Ryota his license, praising him as the most impressive examinee in his 10-year career. Ryota plans to increase his drops and buys a giant tuna. It transforms into a gorilla, which he defeats quickly with freezing bullets, impressing Emily. The gorilla drops another gun, and Ryota considers dual wielding, despite Emily's concerns. At Swallow's gratitude, Erza mentions a rice strike from level 6 of Silicon Dungeon by the Albert group. Ryota heads there, but meets Neptune, planning to confront the group violently. Ryota opts for negotiation, using a special sleeping bullet to pacify the guards. Impressed, Neptune helps Ryota carry them out. Ryota's skills attract the attention of Clint, chief of Secro Dungeon. Ryota is asked by Chief Clint to help secure a new dungeon between his town and Hetero, which drops both meat and vegetables. Ownership affects economic taxes. Clint, stressed, explains it will be decided by rare drops, knowing of Ryota's high drop rates and offering payment regardless of the outcome, plus a tax exemption if they win. Ryota tells Emily about the mission. She's impressed and joins him, despite feeling unhelpful. They travel to the new dungeon through the barren wilderness, where strays are common. Emily draws a bean sprout symbol for encouragement. At camp, Emily reveals a large tent and asks Ryota to fetch water, where he hears mysterious hammering from inside. Returning with water, Ryota finds Emily's tent fully furnished with an amazing dinner. Impressed, Ryota wonders how she carried it all in her backpack. Emily, preparing dessert, mentions the danger of trash turning into powerful strays. Intrigued, Ryota tests this by setting out trash, which turns into a Frankenstein monster. After a fiery battle, they check its drop the next day. Leaving a carrot out, it transforms into a slime. Ryota discovers a new green homing bullet, exciting him but worrying Emily about his increasing danger. Arriving at the new dungeon, they find it crowded with representatives from both cities. They witness a girl using inferno magic to burn trash tirelessly until she collapses from exhaustion, driven by fear of strays. Ryota urges her to rest, but she insists on continuing despite her fatigue. Ryota finds Rosa's health deteriorating, but insists on finishing her job. He uses a sleeping bullet to make her rest. Later, Emily rushes to the trash pile where strays are appearing. Ryota uses fire bullets to clear them and collect drops. Emily organizes people for trash collection and offers food to a hungry girl named Zealous, promising to help her since she works tax-exempt until ownership is designated. At Secro headquarters, Ryota meets Duke, who explains the structure of the Selen dungeon. Odd-numbered floors drop rare items, and even-numbered floors drop meat. Secro competes with Hetero for rare drops. Ryota agrees to help Sekiro by obtaining rare drops on odd-numbered floors. Duke outlines their strategy. Adventurers capture rare monsters for Ryota to finish off. They encounter hetero adventurers, including Eugene, who has a rank F plant drop rate. Hetero sends adventurers with low drop rates to ensure no drops. During an encounter, a Sekiro adventurer grabs a rare monster, and Duke instructs Ryota to finish it. Ryota shoots, but the monster survives and starts growing. The hetero adventurers realize it can only be killed by destroying its core. Eugene moves to strike, but Ryota uses a homing bullet to hit the core just in time. Duke confirms they obtain the rare drop as the frustrated hetero adventurers walk away. After leaving the dungeon, Duke rewards Ryota with money and a rare drop. Ryota considers going back. That evening, he shows Emily the ring she wanted. Despite hesitating due to its cost, Ryota insists, telling Emily she's special to him. Emily accepts joyfully. The next day, Emily's drop rates improved. Ryota explains how he enhanced the ring's power. In the dungeon, Emily achieves her first meat drop after defeating a monster. They encounter adventurers battling a rare monster that knocks Emily down. With Ryota's assistance, she deals the final blow, but the monster drops nothing. The defeated adventurers retreat. Ryota praises Emily and returns the ring. At headquarters, the Duke informs Ryota of more hetero adventurers arriving. Ryota suggests preemptively clearing levels and increasing rewards for rare monsters. Duke agrees reluctantly. They swiftly navigate the dungeon, defeating rare monsters. Ryota skillfully dispatches a Hydra at level 9 with homing bullets, but it disappoints by dropping only mushrooms. Duke leaves to deliver their progress report. As Ryota is about to leave, he is surrounded by adventurers from Hetero, led by Eugene. They blame him for their failed quest and seal his magic, hoping to stop him. Ryota easily defeats them, proving he's strong even without his gun. He fires at Eugene, showing he can use his weapon even with seal magic. Ryota heals the injured adventurers, telling them they can continue attacking if they want, but he can't lose because someone is waiting for him at home. Eugene is jealous, but Ryota encourages him that he might find someone special in the future. In the tent, Emily prepared food while Celeste praised Ryota. They discussed Selene's ownership, leading to a dispute. The next day, Celeste used her level 3 Inferno spell, but passed out. Ryota healed her. More trash arrived, and despite their efforts, a huge pile accumulated due to the dungeon master's interference. Celeste rested, and Emily escorted her to camp. Ryota managed the trash, but found it still piled up the next day. He decided to visit Sekiro headquarters to investigate. There, he encountered Neptune and his companions. Duke explained their plan to defeat the dungeon master with Hetero's help. Ryota offered to face the dungeon master, but Duke refused due to adventurer limits. Ryota sought Neptune's aid, but he couldn't assist due to a contract. Emily and Celeste, joined by Eugene and his group, prepared for battle back at the tent. Ryota reminded them of the rule about 3 high-ranking adventurers. Celeste revealed her rank A stats, despite poor drop rates. They entered Selene, finding no monsters. The dungeon master, a dark horse bicorn, appeared. Emily's attack was repelled by its barrier. Ryota's shots were ineffective. The bicorn charged, but Celeste's Inferno spell halted it, allowing Ryota to destroy the barrier. Emily hit the bicorn, but the barrier reformed, prompting a repeat attack. At headquarters, Duke learned Ryota had entered the dungeon. Neptune wasn't surprised, but Duke worried about Ryota's safety. The battle continued, with Ryota noting the bicorn's resilience. A sigil around the bicorn drained Emily's strength and reduced their stat. Emily shattered the barrier, but was blown away. She quickly recovered, and they checked on Celeste, who struggled with depleted energy. Ryota decided to handle the bicorn alone. Celeste felt like a burden, but Ryota reassured her, saying she had been helpful and should rest. Touched by his kindness, Celeste, used to harsh treatment, felt happy. As Ryota struggled, Celeste cast another Inferno spell, destroying the barrier. Emily handed Ryota her hammer, and he smashed the bicorn's horns, defeating it. They thanked Celeste, and Ryota gave her the bicorn's drop, which she initially refused but eventually accepted. The item allowed her to use level 1 magic without limitations. Back at headquarters, Duke was surprised by their success and informed everyone. Neptune's companions congratulated Ryota. Neptune was seen threatening the leader of the hetero adventurers for preventing him from joining Ryota. At their camp, Celeste used the item to burn the trash with level 1 fire magic. Selene now belonged to Sacro, ending the dispute. Ryota told Celeste they would return to Sacro tomorrow and invited her to join his party. Celeste happily accepted, and Emily welcomed her as part of their family, looking forward to their next adventure. Meanwhile, Eve snacked on carrots, eagerly awaiting Ryota's return so she could enjoy his cooking again. Ryota and his party arrived back at Sacro, where Celeste's beauty captivated everyone. They bumped into Erza, who was surprised to see Celeste. Ryota introduced her as their new party member, and Erza mentioned discussing a favor regarding the Harvest Festival at her shop sometime soon. Over time, Celeste and Emily gathered information about the Harvest Festival. They discovered that dungeon goods would be displayed and turned into strays for adventurers to fight in an arena. Wondering about their role, Ryota showed Celeste a box of seeds from Nihonium. Suddenly, strays appeared, and Ryota charged into action. Despite Celeste's concern, Emily reassured her. The strays dropped a new type of bullet, puzzling Ryota. Explosions rocked the town as more strays emerged. Emily engaged one while Celeste used her Inferno spell, creating a pillar of fire. Despite their efforts, the stray survived and attacked Emily. Ryota intervened, pushing it away and immobilizing it with his new bullets. He finished it with an erasing bullet, dropping a pouch that automatically gathered items. Emily's hammer broke in battle, and her attempts to fix it failed, breaking the handle. The next day, they visited Smith, who offered to make a new hammer if Emily helped advertise his business. She agreed, and Smith began crafting a new weapon. Meanwhile, Ryota returned to Nihonium and met Margaret's group. They discussed their struggling airbox business, so Ryota suggested selling raindrops instead. During a monster attack, Ryota helped them off, and Margaret thanked him with a ring. Back at camp, Emily tested the new handle as Eve arrived asking about Ryota. Emily mentioned he was in the dungeon. Eve then went to Swallow's Gratitude, where Erza hired Ryota to collect rare drops for her. He agreed, receiving a list from Erza. Ryota discovered money in the dungeon could become strays. He left some outside, which transformed into a bird. After a struggle, he defeated it with homing bullets. The bird dropped a potion, boosting plant drop rates by 3 ranks temporarily. Eve clung to Ryota, asking for carrots. Ryota gave her some, and Eve explained she left her party due to their lack of interest in carrots. In a flashback, young Eve disliked vegetables until a boy introduced her to carrots. They planned to form a party, but he vanished suddenly. In the present, Eve revealed her low plant drop rate limited her to ordinary carrots. Ryota gave her a potion boosting her drop rate to rank A. Eve defeated a slime and found a delicious carrot, pleased to find it herself. She asked about the potion, which only Ryota could obtain. Eve asked to join Ryota's party, and after hesitation, he agreed. After returning home, Ryota shows Emily her new hammer, but she noticed Eve clinging to him. Ryota announces Eve will join their party, and Emily welcomes her. The next day, Ryota learns Celeste feels ill due to a magic storm, so he searches for a house unaffected by them. They find one that immediately improves Celeste's condition. The landlord quotes 400,000 kilos per month in rent, deemed expensive by Emily and Celeste. But Ryota decides to take it for his family's happiness. With the Harvest Festival approaching, they aim to gather Erza's listed rare drops and hunt rare monsters in Tululu. On Tululu's 7th level, Ryota encounters a captain with rookies. Emotional, the captain praises their growth, though Ryota suspects brainwashing. They face a pink slime, which Ryota struggles to defeat until Celeste explains its immunity mechanic. She advises Ryota to let others weaken it before delivering the final blow. In the dungeon, Emily and Ryota team up to defeat a slime, which drops a pile of onions. They realize teamwork makes slime battles easier, and discuss dinner plans when Ryota is unexpectedly attacked by a stronger rare monster. Celeste identifies it as a creature that reflects damage when near death, advising careful weakening. Eve, experienced with such monsters, leads the strategy, enabling them to defeat it and retrieve a jewel. The jewel sells for 3 million pillows to Erza. Ryota then heads to Nihonium where he defeats a red skeleton, gaining a seed that boosts his energy. Wondering how to learn magic, Ryota buys an item worth 3 million pillows. Celeste explains that people usually learn magic by leveling up, but Ryota is stuck at level 1. Ryota finds a magic fruit that grants a random spell. Leaving it to transform into a mimic of himself, he defeats it and eagerly consumes another magic fruit it drops, insisting it's different. Later, Ryota tells Emily he can use 2 spells. He demonstrates Wind Cutter and tests reservations on a slime. After Celeste agitates the slimes, Emily lands the final blow, revealing Reservation shares Ryota's drop rates. Impressed, Ryota plans to use it strategically for experience gain. At Erza's shop, Ryota meets Alice, rejected by other parties due to her low max level. Ryota invites her to join, despite her weak stats, encouraging her to level up. In Nihonium, Alice, born in a dungeon, guides Ryota to monsters. Impressed by her skills, Ryota uses Binding Bullet, letting Alice defeat skeletons for experience. They re-enter the dungeon where Alice defeats a skeleton, shrinking it to become her pet, Bonesy. Alice aids Ryota in defeating Jiggly in Tululu, and Jiggly becomes her pet too. Returning home, Ryota introduces Alice to his party as family, welcoming her warmly. As the Harvest Festival bustled around them, Ryota and Emily strolled among the stalls, soaking in the lively atmosphere. Ryota noticed Emily's fondness for her new hammer and surprised her with a bell, which she promptly attached to it, delighted to carry it everywhere. During their festive exploration, Alice led Ryota and Emily to a stall selling mysterious boxes that spawn monsters for significant experience. Ryota tested one, summoning a formidable mouse-like creature. Using his Binding Bullet, Ryota immobilized it for Emily to defeat decisively. The monster dropped a strengthening bullet, which Ryota experimented with, enhancing his next shot with a mystic sigil promising tactical advantages. Returning to town, they encountered a stray monster threatening a young girl. Each blow seemed to empower it until Ryota realized it was absorbing their attacks. Just in time, Neptune arrived with wings granted by his companions. Ryota bound the monster and unleashed a devastating energy beam from the air, obliterating it in a single strike. Grateful, the girl thanked Ryota for saving the town, expressing her aspiration to become an adventurer one day. Ryota encouraged her warmly, the moment bringing a smile to Celeste as she returned from her dungeon expedition, introducing his party to Neptune, who extended an invitation to join his group. Ryota politely declined, opting to savor the festival's delights with his loyal companions by his side. As Alice guided them to a location where she sensed monsters, Celeste identified it as the arena where fighters paired up to battle strays for prizes. Ryota decided they should participate, choosing Celeste as his partner due to her extensive monster knowledge. The crowd roared with excitement as they faced off against a formidable slime. Celeste unleashed her Inferno spell, weakening the creature for Ryota to deliver the finishing blow. He praised her performance, which brought a rare smile to Celeste's face. Later that evening, Celeste revealed their arena prize, a dazzling fireworks set. They celebrated together, enjoying the vibrant display under the night sky. However, their joy was interrupted when Alice suddenly became distant, claiming she heard a call from someone and heading towards Nihonium. Ryota intervened, snapping her out of the trance and agreeing to investigate Nihonium the following day. At Nihonium the next morning, Ryota encountered Clint, who expressed concern over monsters no longer dropping items in dungeons. Determined to uncover the truth, Ryota returned with his party to Tululu, where disgruntled adventurers voiced similar complaints. Eve instructed Ryota to defeat a slime for a carrot, which anicaps unexpectedly dropped. Puzzled by the discrepancy, they recalled Alice's cryptic mention of someone from Nihonium calling out. Venturing deeper into Nihonium, Ryota encountered a mysterious girl on the 4th level suspected of halting item drops. Despite his efforts, his attacks proved futile, leaving him pondering how to overcome this perplexing challenge. Ryota struggles against the boss, finding none of his bullets effective until he realizes his homing bullets can hit her when she attacks. He continues firing, damaging her each time she tries to strike. Eventually, weakened but determined, Ryota uses a headbutt to knock them both back, then finishes her off. Exhausted, Ryota wakes to Emily's voice, realizing he saved everyone with his efforts. She worries for him, urging him not to push himself so hard. As they prepare to leave the dungeon, Ryota finds a ring dropped by the dungeon master. Reluctant for attention, Ryota declines Emily's idea to share his heroic deeds. His party arrives, chastising his recklessness, and Ryota agrees not to act alone in the future. The next day, Ryota tests the ring he found by defeating skeletons, which turn into crystals. He meets Margaret's group, who explain only dragon drops sell well. Seeing Margaret's low stats at level 92, Ryota gives her crystals, boosting her to level 96 with improved stats. He realizes her potential and continues leveling her or up further with more crystals. Margaret is grateful and wants to repay Ryota, who rushes off to buy carrots and bean sprouts to level up his party. Despite Eve's initial protest, Ryota promises better carrots, and they gather a mountain of produce that transforms into crystals. Ryota fights monsters while the girls collect crystals, leveling everyone to max stats by day's end. Celeste is elated to have stats above F for the first time, thanking Ryota. Emily reflects on Ryota's selflessness despite not gaining experience himself. Ryota believes their max level marks a new chapter for their family. The group becomes famous in town, and Emily and Celeste get dungeon license easily. Ryota suggests they split up to maximize their talents, and after a week of hunting, they tally their earnings. Emily makes 160,000 pillows daily. Celeste and Alice each earn about 100,000, and Eve earns 120,000, but eats all her carrots. Ryota reveals he earns 2 million pillows daily. He buys the latest magic card for everyone, which allows items to be transferred directly to their house, solving storage issues. Ryota meets Urza to manage his items, welcoming her to the family with a party where Neptune and Margaret also join. They reflect on their journey together, grateful for their experiences in this world.